In the video you're about to see, a hotel security guard is making her rounds when she suddenly freezes in her tracks after encountering something deeply unsettling. This footage dates back to 2019 and was recently uploaded by someone close to the guard herself. The person who shared it admitted they hesitated before posting, unsure whether putting this out there was the right call. According to them, what was recorded is exactly the kind of thing the hotel's management would prefer stayed hidden, possibly to avoid dredging up memories of a horrific event from decades past. Back in 1986, this very hotel, then known as the DuPont Plaza, erupted in flames under mysterious circumstances, claiming numerous lives in the process. Desperate guests were left with no option but to throw themselves from their balconies as fire consumed the entire structure. It was, by any measure, a devastating scene. Now jump ahead to 2019, and the property has been completely rebranded and renovated under new ownership. Even so, strange occurrences have continued to surface. Visitors have frequently reported paranormal encounters and pointed to that long ago fire as the reason behind them. What you're about to see is a textbook example of what people staying here sometimes experience. Late at night, something appears to pull the security guard's hair without warning. See for yourself. If you look carefully, her ponytail is the first thing that reacts before her head even moves. And it's not a gentle shift either. It looks as though something forcefully yanked her hair, snapping her head back in one sharp motion. According to the person who shared this clip, the guard assumed someone had physically grabbed her and bolted before she could turn around. But watching the footage, that explanation simply doesn't hold up. Her hair was clearly pulled, yet there's no visible person responsible for it. The friend who posted this believes what happened falls completely outside the realm of explanation. As always though, I'll leave it up to you to draw your own conclusions. So what do you think could account for what happened to that security guard? Late one night, a group of friends decided to take a drive and found themselves traveling down a road that was almost entirely empty. The surrounding area was dead quiet, and for a while, everything felt completely routine, until something in the distance, right in the middle of the road, stopped them cold. See for yourself.
Señor, ¿qué es eso? Lo que está allá.
Nos bajamos. Güey, güey, ¿me está moviendo?
Allá, lo que está allá moviéndose, en lo más oscuro. Pues, no es un palo.
No, yo lo veo forma. Yo también lo veo como
Eso
con
es lo que
mujer,
está
güey.
moviendo allá.
Ay, que me cagué, güey, estamos bien cerca, güey.
¿Eh? No sé. Y nos queríamos bajar por unas pastillas. Esa cosa que está ahí, mire.
Mira, no hay nada, entonces no era un tronco ni nada, porque muchas personas van a decir eso. ¿Sí hay pasado para allá, verdad? ¿O nomás está aquí?
Pues sí hay, pero está bien feo, digo que mejor regreses por aquí.
Ah, ok.
Pero ahí donde está él, pues está. Ay, no, ya. Vámonos, me escalapé.
Bueno, allá me voy igual.
Illuminated by their headlights was a strange silhouette that looked like a woman dressed in a long white gown. What made it truly unsettling was that she wasn't moving at all, just standing there, perfectly still. The passengers initially tried to brush it off with laughter, but the anxiety creeping into their voices gave them away. And even as the car drew closer, the figure remained completely unresponsive. To this day, no one has been able to say for certain whether it was an actual person, some kind of staged prank, or something else entirely. What began as a routine Sunday morning worship turned into something that congregation will never be able to shake. A man stood at the center of the church. Something wasn't right. His movements seemed completely outside of his control, violent, frantic, like something else was driving him, and he threw himself toward the altar, thrashing with a strength that didn't seem natural. The camera was rolling the moment everything descended into chaos inside a place built for sanctuary. Then the congregation acted, closing in around him as one, and what unfolded had all the hallmarks of an exorcism. Hands pressed against him, voices crying out in prayer. These people believed they were fighting for his very soul, right then and there. The footage is gritty and uncut. There was no audience to perform for. This was a genuine spiritual confrontation that happened to be caught on film. Whether possession is something you put stock in or not, one thing is impossible to deny. Something profoundly disturbing took place within those church walls that day. A woman living near the devastation left behind by Hurricane Helene decided to walk through the wreckage-strewn streets when she picked up on a nauseating odor drifting out from a pile of debris.
Really bad through here. Like rotting. Really bad. Oh shit. Is this for real? Oh, it smells so bad. Yeah, I'm gonna go up here. Ugh. You guys.
She comes across a small roadside memorial, flowers, and a cross. But what she doesn't seem to register is what sounds like a male voice rising up from somewhere beneath the rubble.
From the rubble.
The smell grew so overwhelming that she had no choice but to turn around and get out of there fast. Officials in Asheville have confirmed a significant death toll resulting from the hurricane's destruction. So was she unknowingly standing just feet away from someone calling out for help? Someone who, tragically, may have already taken their last breath? On June 7th, 2026, an office worker was wrapping up her shift at around 6:40 in the evening alongside a colleague, the two of them getting ready to head out for the night. She stands up and walks over to look at a report on the neighboring desk with her co-worker. And that's when their security camera picks up something that will send a chill down your spine. Both employees are visibly shaken when a chair toward the back of the room suddenly begins moving on its own, and even the table gets nudged upward slightly from the force behind it. The two of them bolt out of the office in a panic. Sharp-eyed viewers have also pointed out that in the mirror's reflection, the computer screen the woman had been using appears to switch to a completely different window. Even if the desk had shifted on its own, something would still have needed to physically click and move the mouse in order to change what was displayed on that screen. After calming themselves down in the adjoining room, one of the women eventually makes her way back in to grab her belongings before heading home, audibly asking for forgiveness as she goes, clearly convinced the office has some kind of presence in it.
Pasensya ka na,
ka namin? Ah! Hey.
Still rattled from everything that just happened, she jumps at the slightest thing. The two also mention this is far from the first time something unexplainable has occurred there. So is this office haunted? I'll let you make your... Lorraine Sobel is a mum who typically posts videos about her family's everyday life. Lighthearted, ordinary moments with no hint of anything supernatural, until one particular incident turned everything upside down. It all unfolded during what appeared to be a perfectly routine lunch with her husband and son. Watch what the camera picked up.
If he's like, okay, but then he's not okay.
Jeez. That was the second time I heard that noise.
Okay. And I saw something.
Okay, that was the second.
The family is seated quietly at the table when, out of nowhere, a plastic bottle begins moving by itself. Lorraine's husband takes notice, but initially dismisses it. Then, just a few minutes later, the bottle shifts again, and this time, neither of them can ignore it. Unable to make sense of what they'd witnessed, they go back and review the footage, but no logical explanation presents itself. After that, Lorraine puts out another video, laying out her own theory. She believes these strange occurrences began following the death of the family dog, an animal that had been part of their lives for 16 years, and she thinks it may be trying to send them a message. But the story doesn't stop there. Just days afterward, she captures yet another unsettling moment on video. Once more, that same bottle moves, only this time, it's quicker and far more difficult to explain away. Lauren says she genuinely hopes it's her dog's spirit reaching back across to them. Meanwhile, plenty of commenters are urging her to be careful, warning that whatever is behind this could have a much darker origin. So the question hanging over all of it remains: what exactly is going on inside that house? Our next story comes from the TikTok account shown here on screen. It belongs to a plumber who typically fills his feed with casual, everyday content from his working life. But one particular upload stands out because in it, he describes a deeply unsettling experience he had while on the job at a client's home. There's no actual footage of what took place, but the account he gives of that day is more than enough to make it worth your time.
House out here, birds and shit, you know how it is. And I drove up and looked in the window, and when I got here, I saw something go like this, and I was like, that was weird, but you know how it is, your mind plays tricks on you, right? And so I wasn't thinking anything about it. I saw it in another window, and I was like, ugh, gross, my head's being weird today, right? And then I walked out of this little pump house right here, and I walked that way, and then right there, I saw this black smoky thing just shoot down the side of the hill, and that made me sick to my stomach. So I was like, all right, dude, something's wrong with my head or something. I'm like, got schizophrenia or something. And so whatever, I'm like trying to brush it off, but now I'm kind of like spook, you know what I mean? And so I went and grabbed my pipe wrenches out of the truck, and I set them up against this pump house, and I turned around to walk to the pump or whatever, and they fell over, and they're all chink, 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 and I was like, oh dude, I don't want to be here. It's gross. I never been honestly freaked out by something before, ever. I really don't want to be at this house.
He says that from the moment he stepped through the door, things started feeling off. Initially, he brushed it aside, telling himself it was probably just his imagination getting the better of him. But the strange occurrences kept piling up as he worked, and by the time he packed up and walked out, he was genuinely shaken. What's interesting is that so many people out there claim to have gone through something eerily similar at least once in their lifetime. Have you ever found yourself in a situation you just couldn't explain? If so, drop it in the comments. We'd really love to know. Veronica is someone who regularly shares glimpses of her everyday life online, whether that's her kids, her pet snakes, or even the iguana she's had for about a year. But what her security system recently picked up is something she wasn't prepared for. One night at around 4 in the morning, a camera installed in her daughter's room captured something that sent a chill straight down her spine. At first, she assumed the figure on the footage was simply her husband, but that assumption didn't hold up for long. There on the floor lay a man, twitching with a stiff, almost agonizing looking wave motion running through his body. Then, without warning, he snapped his head sharply toward the camera and locked eyes with the lens. Just as quickly as it started, it was over. He simply settled back down and drifted off to sleep as if nothing unusual had occurred. Here's the thing though, when Veronica confronted her husband about it, he had absolutely no recollection of any of it. So either he was caught in the grip of some intense dream state or something else entirely was going on. Mother, by the name of Leo Lords, decides to set up a hidden camera in her daughter's room after picking up on something she can't quite shake. Ever since the family moved into their new house, her little girl has been carrying on conversations with what she calls an imaginary friend. Now, that kind of thing isn't unheard of in young kids, but something about the whole situation just feels off to her.
So we are just moving in. I'm literally in such a mess. I'm sorry, but we're moving into this old house. And my daughter has been talking to an imaginary friend, except for it feels really real. Obviously, it's an imaginary friend, but it's been weirding me out. And I'm wondering if something is triggering it or why it's happening. So I put this camera down and I'm just gonna let it.
Wanting to know what's going on when she isn't in the room, Leo leaves a camera running around the clock. For a while, the footage shows nothing out of the ordinary, but then one evening after dinner, her daughter heads back in to spend time with this so-called companion, and that's when things take a strange turn.
Is what the camera picked up, captured, whatever, a couple nights ago. And I'm freaked out. I really don't know what to make of this.
It sounds beautiful and funny. What are you guys doing? Do you want to play? Do you want to do you want to sleep?
One night, a teenager was at home, hanging out with a friend, and as they headed outside to say their goodbyes, something stopped them both, dead in their tracks. This porch chair, which had been completely motionless just seconds before, begins swaying back and forth with no one anywhere near it. And at almost that very same instant, a strange glowing orb materializes at the far edge of the yard and slowly floats across the property before vanishing into thin air. The two of them just stood there frozen. Neither could make any sense of what they were witnessing. They turned right around, went back inside, and deadbolted the door behind them. So what do you think was responsible for moving that chair? Let us know your theories in the comments. For countless individuals, antique dolls have always triggered a peculiar and hard to shake unease, particularly when they surface in accounts tied to the paranormal. One man started to suspect something was deeply off about his collection of vintage dolls after a series of unsettling incidents kept occurring throughout his home.
Watching a movie and my cabinet yanked. Like, you can still see it moving a little bit. Like the thing I have it tied shut with, and usually it's tighter than that. And see, look, I told you. I told you something was yanking on it. And it's weird because it's been a long time since it messed with this cabinet. Hello? You want to do it again? Are you trying to get the doors open? Oh.
But that was just the start of it. As he turned the camera toward the inside of the cabinet, a red-haired doll abruptly shifted its head.
Hello? Is there a reason why you wanted me to open the door? I know it's been a while since you messed with this cabinet. And usually when we come back from a vacation or something, y'all start getting wild, so... Did you mess us? Anyway, what is your name? How did you pass away? I know a lot of people are wondering about that. It's actually been recently asked. You gonna go quiet now? Is there something you wanted to say? Alright, I'm about to close the door. I'm pretty sure that doll just looked up at me.
Not long after, the very same thing seemed to occur all over again. At that precise moment, his recording equipment also began showing some very strange technical glitches.
I want to be near it.
Once the footage made its rounds online, plenty of viewers became convinced he might be housing something genuinely supernatural within his walls. Others, though, pushed back, suggesting the odd movements could easily be explained by vibrations, the angle of the lens, or the dolls simply having been sitting in an unstable position to begin with. So was this man's home truly haunted? Or is there a far more straightforward answer lurking behind all of this? Dora is a TikTok content creator whose page is normally focused on everyday vlogs and travel adventures with zero connection to anything supernatural. But on March 11th, 2026, she posted a video that completely shattered her usual style. While taking her dog for a late night walk alongside a friend, the two spotted something deeply disturbing further down the empty street. Here's the raw footage as she captured it.
That? What?
Once we break this down frame by frame, what's going on along that sidewalk defies any normal explanation. Way off in the distance, a shadowy figure is visible, moving beneath the glow of a streetlight. Yet, as Zora herself points out, the entity appears to be trapped in a chilling loop. It's clearly taking steps, yet it isn't covering any ground whatsoever, like a glitch ripped straight out of the simulation. Zora describes the figure as impossibly thin, giving it a distinctly inhuman silhouette. She also insists the entity appears to be completely headless. Our zoomed-in enhancements can't fully verify the absence of a head given how dark the scene is, but the strange, repetitive movement of that unnaturally proportioned body on its own is more than enough to stop anyone dead in their tracks. A Reddit user operating under the handle What Amy Said uploaded this footage. It's late at night and the two of them are filming a relaxed, off-the-cuff video while walking and talking about the pressures of rising prices and daily life. The stretch of road they're moving through has a reputation among locals for paranormal encounters, with multiple reports of ghostly figures appearing along the roadside after dark. None of that is on Amy's mind though. She's completely caught up in the conversation and the recording, right up until something in the darkness brings her to a sudden halt.
Oh yay, I can make the same amount of money I made when I was out of high school, you know? Looks like there was a fucking figure just standing right there. That's so crazy. And he was my own shadow. That happens way too often.
Mid-sentence, a dark, shadowy figure can be seen partially concealed within the bushes along the roadside. It lingers for only a matter of seconds before disappearing entirely, as though it was never there to begin with. Amy wasted no time uploading the clip to Reddit, where it spread rapidly, though viewers couldn't agree on what she had actually caught on camera. A portion of the comments argue it's nothing more than her friend's shadow, warped by the glare of a passing vehicle's headlights. Others, however, push back on that explanation, noting that the shape appears far too distinct and intentional, and that the manner in which it fades away simply doesn't line up with how an ordinary shadow would behave. Given the location's long-standing history of hauntings, many are convinced that Amy came face to face with something supernatural that evening, something lurking in the shadows, watching them, that slipped away the instant it realized it had been seen. In 2025, explorer Canal Joseph led a 3-person crew into an abandoned children's hospital sitting at the heart of a ghost town somewhere in the American South. The entire surrounding neighborhood had been hollowed out, homes demolished, roofs collapsed, asbestos warnings still spray painted across crumbling walls. According to locals, the building was condemned after something went terribly wrong with the patients on the lower floor. What Cannell had no way of knowing was that somebody had been using those vacant rooms for occult ceremonies, and the pentagrams scorched into the floorboards weren't decorative. Before the night was over, one of his crew members would be on their knees, pleading with whatever was in there to fix what it had done to him.
Use my gun. Are you ready?
Don't open. Alright, I don't think it needs to be open.
Bro, this place is never... Yo, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? No, someone's here. Someone's here. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Let's go. Let's go there. No, stop. Stop. No, Krusty, I'm not playing with you. I will leave you here. Stop trolling. He just disappeared. No. Just disappeared.
Dude, I literally saw it.
No, stop.
You got brighter light. You got a light. You got a brighter light.
Okay, let's not go. Okay, we're black. What are y'all? Nick, you go.
You want me to go alone? Hey, the light's getting closer. Oh, bro. No.
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead. What the bro, he was like a black ass shadow. I'm being for real, like I need y'all to actually. Huh? Oh.
The group separates while searching for the main entrance, and that's when Cannell catches sight of something shifting in a dark corridor. Then it vanishes. The light swings back, and whatever it was appears to be moving toward them.
Look, this says you will not believe what they left behind. Oh. They took my child. They will pay. Please find her. She's downstairs.
Get out of my head, bro. Get out of my head. No, this room gives me the chills, bro. Let's go in there.
There's stuff written on the walls. Bro, my skin is like burning, bro. I think I have like fiberglass or something.
Yeah, look, it's red right there.
This is like some crazy ass. Real eyes, real eyes. Great. As soon as my eye get hit. Why is there a chair just sitting in that room in the middle of it? Should we go in there? Why is the chair in the middle of the freaking room? What the? No! No, 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 no. No, 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 no,
bro,
no.
Look, they burnt stuff. They burnt stuff.
They did rituals here.
Bro, dude, there's something in this.
No one saved me.
Try not to get next to that, please. Don't touch it.
Don't touch that. Don't touch that circle, bro. Why is there signs on it? Look.
What it can use like a possession type of thing. Like they were trying to either take away the demon or put a demon in it.
I'm not gonna lie.
They debate pulling out the Ray-M pod, then stumble across a message gouged into the wall about a child who went missing somewhere on the floor below. That leads them to the room. The char marks, the circle, and the symbols etched around its edge that one of the crew members recognizes the second they lay eyes on it.
To where you can stand in front of it and it'll go off. But basically, this makes a noise and it'll keep going if there's something in front of it. Okay, so we're gonna just put it down right here in front of the door, facing. So basically, it's gonna make a noise. Nobody freak out. Okay, leave it there. Okay.
Nigga, do we get the out of here?
Look, it's just the lightning. That's the lightning.
But what are the odds? Like, we've been here this whole time and there's lightning.
That's what happens when something steps in front of it. Simple, okay? So this is what we're gonna do, man. We're just gonna chill, bro. Stand right here, see if this goes off. So I just want to know if there's anybody with us right now, you can go up to the red light. All it does is you put your energy in front of it and it will light up. Understandable. Maybe you don't want to be known. If you don't want us to talk to you, please go up to the light. Wait. I need to grab it.
Going off. Oh no, bro.
Maybe it doesn't want to talk to us, and that's okay, guys.
Do we just enter in there? Maybe we have to be in the vicinity. Can we close the door? Because I don't want nothing like coming in.
No.
How are we gonna get out?
Nigga, there's holes.
Okay, step out there, please. You know what I'm thinking? Are you sitting down?
I think you gotta move. Bro. It's sitting in that chair, bro. You gotta move that REM pod.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it, okay? Sorry about that. There's something strong right there, bro. I can't tell you what it is.
Okay, all right, here, look. Someone gotta take one for the team. Y'all YNs, y'all not scared of none. One of y'all gotta sit in the chair.
Sorry, that's sleeping over there, Tom.
Rock, paper, scissors between y'all. Go sit in the chair, bro.
Dang, that's getting louder in a second.
Yes.
Probably just don't want to speak to us. Maybe it wants to be in its own zone.
No! No! Stop.
No, that's rude as that. That's rude, man.
Sorry about that.
What do you? No, stop.
Don't touch it, though, please.
No! I'm getting out, bro. No, get out. No, this nigga just spilled. No, the music's playing. No.
Bro, that's not it, bro. That's disrespectful, bro. I'm not even with that myself right now.
You good, mate? You good?
I'm good. But we gotta pray, bro. Yo, that motherfucker spit on it.
That's real nigga.
Bro, you were whining.
What?
I respect that. That was making a mockery of us sitting there in the chair not talking to us, nigga. F us. One of your ops, man.
We took the wrong YNs with us, bro. Okay, bro. What do we do next? No, bro. That, bro. We're already cooked. What is the mask gonna do? Y'all disrespected the spirit.
Wait, put your mask on, twin. You're gonna die for real, man.
So y'all gonna spit, disrespect the spirit, but that's where you draw the line. You're gonna put a mask on?
I just spit into the pentagram to activate it so he can heal his eye.
Oh, no, I don't want my eye healed from that pentagram, bro. I want it to heal naturally. I rebuke. I don't need. No, my not clearing up. No. Here, y'all stay right here. Y'all stay.
Oh, the effects is kicking in.
No.
He acting like
No.
that. No.
He's trying to trick us.
No. Y'all stay right here. Me and Krusty, we're gonna talk over here, bro. What the we do, bro? From your experience.
I've never seen that, but I know that this is not. You know,
He spit on it. Is there anything like?
just go say sorry. I mean, that's the best thing we could do right now. Where'd he go? Oh my
Bro, why did they leap? Bro,
How did they do that, bro?
The moment they set the REM pod down in the chair, it triggers immediately. They tell the spirit to back off. It holds its ground. Then, one of the crew does something so deeply disrespectful that Cannell goes completely silent, and the group scatters before anyone can intervene.
There's a basement.
Remember the sign said that they live down there or something like that?
They took my child. They will pay. Please find her. She's downstairs.
I just got chills, bro.
Bro, why is it cold?
It's cold as here, bro.
Oh, hell no. Oh, nah. Bro. Everybody put your mask on. This is where the mode is at, definitely. Don't touch anything. Oh, look at this. Look at the ceiling. Look at this. It says, face of the goat. In the mirror, we become the race of the cursed seeds.
Don't read that. That's a
Don't read that?
curse, man. That's a curse, man.
Okay. That's smart. Don't read stuff out loud. This leads to outside. What is this? So we're at the basement right now. Do we go under?
You go, I'll go too.
Wait, safe house.
Hell no.
You sure? Whoa! This is a basement. Krusty, come on. Yes. We don't want to leave you behind, bro. Come on, we stick together. You got this, bro. Here we go. Good bro. You got this, bro. Come on. We're going deep in here. You gonna be by yourself? Okay. All right, everybody.
The mask on, son.
I was always told never to go under the basement of a hospital. That's why I didn't come here.
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
Wait, why?
These are the most dangerous parts of everything, bro. Possible could have been bodies down here. Possible some real rituals could have been down here. You think that starts a problem?
The basement. The warning sign upstairs had already told them she was waiting down there. The temperature plunges the instant they reach the stairwell, and what's scrawled across the ceiling is enough to make Cannell turn to the others and tell them, do not say that out loud.
Temperature's dropping. That means it's something strong. All right. We are here. We are back. We are here with no disrespect. Do you live here?
The light's turning on.
Thank you. You can tap the light too. It's harmless.
It's turning on. It's doing it again. It's flickering. Turn on the flashlight or speak into the spirit box if you are friendly. Did you here? Speak in the spirit box or touch the flashlight if you here. It's communicating with the flash. It's communicating. Okay. Were you a patient at this hospital before it shut down? Touch the REM pod or turn the flashlight on if you were a patient.
REM pod.
The REM pod. Just touched it. Okay. Step away from the REM pod if you are trapped here.
Ask them who they want to.
Why is it getting faster? Is there multiple people here? Turn off the flashlight if there's multiple people here. Okay. You guys have any questions?
Yo, did I disrespect you earlier by spitting on the pentagram?
The flashlight. Turn on the flashlight if you're gonna continue following us home. No. Look how red it is.
Go ahead.
No. Oh, no.
You can use this to communicate with us.
No.
Okay, you can back away if you're a man. back away from your man.
Bro, it's just going crazy, bro. Turn on the light if you are stuck here and it's trapped. Turn on the flashlight if you stuck on the circle. Oh. If we touch the circle, will something bad happen to us? Nah, it's trying to trick us. It's trying to trick us. If something good will happen, if we touch this star, we stand in the middle, turn on the flashlight. No, I don't trust that. No, I don't trust that. No. Turn the flashlight on if you'll get mad if we leave right now.
I get a question.
Turn the flashlight on if you just...
Okay, are we not allowed to leave here, bro? It's following somebody home. It's not. Oh, no. Touch the music box if you're gonna follow one of us home. Okay, we good. We good, bro. Okay.
We know that you are stuck in the circle. We're not here to disturb your peace. Thank you for speaking to us. We appreciate your time and thank you for everything you've done. Go ahead and stay here. Please do not follow us. Stay in this room. And we're going to head out of here. Thank you. Goodbye. Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.
We'll see you later.
What are you?
Back inside the ritual room, they make one final attempt at contact. The flashlight responds to every single question. Then Cannell asks the one thing you should never ask a spirit that can't leave. And the REM pod reacts so violently, the entire crew bolts for the exit. An hour later, Cannell was sitting in an emergency room. His eye had swollen shut. The injury from earlier hadn't improved. It had deteriorated. And the crew member who'd spat on the pentagram to set the whole thing in motion kept insisting he shouldn't worry, that the spirit was just... On February 7th, 2026, a TikTok account by the name of Paranormal Express uploaded what appeared, at first glance, to be a completely mundane clip. The woman was filming simply to show her husband she'd accidentally left the kitchen light on. That was the entire purpose of the recording. But what the camera happened to capture alongside that light is what transformed it into something far more unsettling. There's a figure in the room, distinct enough to suggest a person, a body, a face, a presence, yet something about it feels fundamentally off the moment you see it. The account holder went on to claim the figure bore a resemblance to a deceased family member named Annie Berlin, and when the video is compared side by side with a portrait of Annie, there is a likeness there that's genuinely difficult to dismiss. Some people watching are completely sold, while others believe the whole thing was staged for clout. But that shape standing in a kitchen that was only ever being filmed to document a forgotten light switch is the kind of image that keeps pulling you back for another look. So what's your take? The whole family, an anonymous TikTok user, is putting forward a pretty extraordinary claim. According to this person, the security camera mounted outside their house recorded what they're convinced is solid, undeniable proof of paranormal activity. When the footage begins, everything looks completely ordinary. Just a dark yard, a fence, and the quiet stillness of the night. But keep your focus on the right-hand side of the frame, close to that fence, because something is about to show up. A ghostly white shape gradually emerges out of thin air. Your first instinct might be to write it off as smoke drifting through the shot, maybe a cigarette, some vapor, or a patch of mist pushed along by a breeze. But it's the way this thing moves that makes the footage so deeply unsettling. Rather than dispersing or dissolving the way ordinary smoke does. The white mass travels with a kind of eerie precision. It glides toward the middle of the yard, then comes to a dead stop, hanging suspended in the air while somehow maintaining its shape almost completely intact. Then, after holding that position for several seconds, it suddenly launches straight upward and vanishes into the darkness above. Smoke drifts, twists, and breaks apart, but this thing moves with what almost looks like intention, as if it has somewhere specific to be. So what exactly did this home security camera pick up that night? A perfectly timed pocket of vapor caught at just the right angle, or a genuine apparition ascending into the dark? This one is. TikTok user going by WillowHunter74 claims that in the early hours of March 12th, 2026, they were jolted awake at roughly 3 a.m. after what sounded like a faucet running downstairs. Unsettled and wanting answers, Willowhunter pulled up their home security footage to check whether anything odd had gone on while they slept. Here's what the camera apparently recorded. The video begins with a teddy bear dropping off a chair without any obvious cause, and then, not long after, a nearby door slowly swings open by itself. Neither event is jaw-dropping on its own, but the combination of the two builds a genuinely creepy vibe, particularly when you factor in that all of this supposedly unfolded in the dead of night, with the whole household asleep. Frustratingly, the uploader doesn't give us much to work with beyond mentioning they heard what seemed like water running earlier that evening. Sure, there are probably rational explanations that could account for what we're seeing, but watching both incidents play out back to back in the same clip is more than enough to send a chill down your spine. So what's your take on what was going on inside WillowHunter74's home that night? Was this a genuine brush with the paranormal, or just a pair of odd coincidences that happened to get caught on camera? Night after night, a sleepwalking woman from next door turns up in one family's backyard and does things that are genuinely hard to watch. Mandy, a resident of Western Massachusetts, started posting dozens of deeply unsettling clips to TikTok, all recorded by the security cameras she has set up around her property. And the pattern in every single video is the same. Her neighbor, who lives just a short distance away, keeps making her way over to Mandy's house in the dead of night, roaming the grounds and acting in ways that are seriously disturbing. It later came out that this woman has a severe sleepwalking condition, and for reasons nobody has been able to figure out, Mandy's yard seems to be where she's repeatedly drawn to. In the recordings, you can hear her producing unsettling sounds, growling, crouching down as though she's hiding from something, creeping up toward the front door, and whispering in a chilling tone, begging to be let in. Mandy has brought this up with her neighbor on multiple occasions, urging her to either lock herself in at night or get some kind of medical attention, but those requests have gone nowhere.
She ran up through there, and then she came behind that tree, and she ran this way. It looked like she went either behind that shed with the garage door or between the two sheds, but I'm not 100% sure. I know she ran in this direction. However, it was so far away that I couldn't tell if she actually went behind and into the woods or if she just...
She's also called the police more than once, and yet the situation remains completely unresolved, with the disturbing visits showing no sign of stopping. This clip, a man at home finds himself face to face with something that shakes him to his core. He starts picking up strange sounds coming from one of the rooms, so he grabs his phone and goes to check it out. As he gets closer to the door and aims the camera through the opening, the last thing he expects is what happens next. See for yourself. Without warning, a head slowly creeps out from behind the door, almost as though whatever is inside has been watching him the entire time. The man stumbles backward in shock, completely caught off guard by what just appeared. The whole thing is over within seconds, yet it's more than enough to shatter the silence and replace it with something far more chilling. Most of us have massive archives of old photos and videos collecting digital dust on our phones. Files we haven't touched in years and barely even remember saving. But for a woman named Kenzie, digging through her camera roll turned up something far more disturbing than a forgotten clip. She stumbled upon a video she had no recollection of recording. The screen was almost entirely pitch black, and she had no idea when it had been saved to her device or why it existed at all. According to Kenzie, the file had been sitting there untouched for close to 2 years. Out of curiosity, she opened it, and because the footage was so dark, she cranked up the brightness to try and see what was actually in it. And what she saw stopped her cold. As the image lightens, a tall, shadowy shape slowly comes into view, a silhouette standing perfectly still in the doorway of her bedroom, unmoving, just watching. Kenzie says this made the whole thing even harder to wrap her head around, for one very specific reason. She always keeps her bedroom door shut when she sleeps, so she has no explanation for why it appears wide open in the recording. And then things get worse. A few moments in, the figure appears to inch forward, as though it's slowly approaching the camera. And throughout all of this, Kenzie has zero memory of any of it. She doesn't recall waking up, she doesn't recall reaching for her phone, and she certainly has no memory of filming her own bedroom in the dead of night. When she posted the footage online, viewers were quick to weigh in, with many pointing out that the silhouette looks remarkably similar to what's commonly known as the Hat Man, a dark, looming figure frequently described by people who have gone through episodes of sleep paralysis. Now, that doesn't automatically mean that's what's going on here. There are plenty of more grounded explanations worth considering. It could be an object casting a misleading shadow. It could be an accidental recording that our brains are wired to interpret as something threatening. Or perhaps the camera simply caught something she was never even aware of at the time. Whatever the truth turns out to be, one thing is hard to argue with. Discovering a video on your own phone that you have no memory of making would already be enough to rattle most people. But finding what looks like a figure standing silently in your bedroom doorway takes that to a whole different level. The kind of thing that would keep just about anyone. In this clip you're about to watch, we are stepping onto the grounds of a property that should be a quiet horse farm, but has recently become the center of a series of unexplainable environmental anomalies. This footage comes from a creator known as My Little Equine, whose TikTok feed is normally a peaceful sanctuary for horse lovers. However, she's recently been forced to document a disturbing shift in the atmosphere of her family's compound, a shift that began with the most sensitive residents of the farm. The first red flag comes from the behavior of her dog, Josie. In the world of paranormal research, animals are often considered intuitive barometers because they possess a sensory range that far exceeds our own, especially when it comes to detecting fluctuations in electromagnetic fields. In this first piece of evidence, Josie is captured in a state of high alert that reportedly lasted for hours.
So, I'm recording this just in the off chance that no one believes me. Maybe I can catch it. And by the way, I have a freaking cemetery in my front yard, which probably doesn't help my cause, but I was just inside. I'm by myself with my dog. She's up in that room upstairs. You can literally hear her working from here. Josie? Josie? Yeah, she's just been staring at that, and then she started barking, and she growled, and when she growled, I kind of like booked it. I don't really know, like, that's usually like her stance while she's waiting for me to come home, and I'm just like, is she waiting for someone to walk out of that closet? Like,
As you can see, Josie isn't just barking at a random noise or a passing critter. She is locked onto a specific closet, growling and pacing with a level of intensity that suggests a physical threat is lurking just behind the door. The creator eventually worked up the nerve to check the closet herself, and while that footage isn't shown here, she confirmed that it was completely empty. No intruders, no pests, just a void that her dog refused to ignore. When a dog growls at an empty space for an extended period, it suggests a localized, persistent presence that is actively radiating an energy the animal finds threatening. There's a private family cemetery located right on the grounds that hold her own grandparents. While a private burial ground is a deeply personal and sacred space, in the world of the supernatural, these sites can act as permanent anchors for spiritual energy. She believes the weird things she's been noticing are directly tied to the presence of this cemetery. This leads us into the second and arguably more bizarre development on the property. In April 2025, a group of cows from a neighboring area began to show up at the compound every single day, and their behavior was anything but routine.
see, this is what I'm talking about. They literally just come and hang out here all the time now. It's a newer development. Like, why? They just kind of come and literally freeze around this area. And they just kind of will freeze and won't move. So, yeah. What's up?
Instead of grazing or wandering as cattle usually do, these cows gather in a tight, deliberate formation directly around the cemetery. They don't just stand there, they freeze, remaining perfectly still for long periods while emitting strange, low-frequency noises that the creator describes as unlike anything she's heard from cattle before. In the comments, many viewers have dubbed this summoning behavior. From a grounded perspective, you could argue that the cows are simply attracted to a specific type of grass or a mineral deposit near the fresh dirt of the graves. However, the logic pivot here is the ritualistic nature of the gathering. Herd animals typically only cluster like this when they are under threat from a predator, yet there is no predator in sight. They are focused entirely on the burial site. In many cultures, cattle are seen as highly spiritual animals, capable of sensing thin places, areas where the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds is particularly porous. The escalation on the compound doesn't just affect the family and their livestock, it has begun to impact outsiders who step onto the property. In this next clip, the atmosphere at the farm reaches a peak of tension during a routine food delivery. It's late at night, and as the delivery driver pulls into the driveway, the cows have returned, but their behavior has taken on a much darker, more aggressive tone under the cover of darkness.
Oh my god. Hi.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. See, this is what I'm talking about. Every freaking night. Like, even at night, they even come and hang out here, and they just like stand and like. Are you for real right now?
The cows are once again gathered in a perfect, eerie circle around the family cemetery. But this time, they aren't just standing in a frozen vigil, they are emitting guttural, distorted vocalizations that sound nothing like a typical herd. The delivery driver was so scared by the sight and the sound of the animals that he was too terrified to walk back to his car alone, forcing the creator to walk with him to ensure he made it out safely. Skeptics often claim that livestock might huddle together for warmth or safety, but animal behaviorists who weighed in on the footage noted that cows simply do not sound like this. The frequency of the moaning is unnaturally low and rhythmic. In paranormal theory, this is often described as infrasound manipulation. Some believe that high-intensity hauntings or thin places can generate low-frequency waves that physically affect the vocal cords of animals, causing them to emit sounds that are completely outside their natural range. This leads us into the fourth piece of evidence, where the activity seems to have moved from the interior of the house directly to the source of the unrest. Earlier, we saw Josie obsessed with a closet inside the home, but as the summoning behavior of the cows continued at the grave sites, Josie's focus shifted.
Josie. Josie, what's going on?
The dog is no longer barking at the house. She is now standing at the edge of the cemetery, completely still, staring into the empty space between the crosses. She isn't growling anymore. She is in a state of hyperfixation. In the study of hauntings, this transition is significant. It suggests that the entity or energy that was once visiting the house has now fully manifested at its anchor point, the cemetery. Dogs are known to track movement that the human eye can't perceive, and Josie's silent, intense stare suggests she is watching something move through the graveyard, something that the cows are also acknowledging with their nightly rituals. This final piece of evidence brings the entire timeline into a terrifying focus. While we have seen the animals reacting to an invisible force for weeks, the creator discovered that her security system actually captured the entity itself on the same day the delivery man came to her house. In paranormal theory, shadow people are often described as dense, interdimensional entities that lack a human form but possess a distinct heavy mass. The fact that it triggered a physical motion sensor is the ultimate proof. A camera glitch or a trick of the light doesn't trip a sensor, a physical body does. This suggests that the summoning behavior we saw from the cows wasn't just a strange animal quirk. They were acknowledging the arrival of a manifestation that has now gained enough physical density to interact with the property's security system. When you tie this back to the private family cemetery, a more creative, albeit darker, picture begins to emerge. In some folklore, certain burial sites are guarded by grims or watchers, entities that are either tethered to the souls of the deceased or drawn to the site of the dead to act as a territorial boundary. This shadow figure seems to be the source of the property-wide unrest. It started in the closet, moved to the graves, and is now patrolling the grounds. The animals aren't just acting weird, they are reacting to a shift in the hierarchy of the land. So, what do you think? Is this a guardian spirit protecting the ancestors, or something much more ancient that has claimed the cemetery as its own? I'll let you come up with your own conclusions. In this next clip, we witness what happens when a subtle haunting rapidly escalates into a full-blown, violent infestation. Most people set up indoor security cameras to give themselves a little peace of mind while they're away from home. But for homeowner Troy Legault, those cameras ended up capturing the exact opposite of peace. The timeline of the activity in this house is what makes it so deeply unsettling. It shows a clear progression of an entity testing its boundaries and gaining strength. This first clip begins with a false sense of security, showing the dining room while the house is completely empty. Out of nowhere, the ceiling fan suddenly turns itself on, spinning with incredible speed before abruptly stopping. If you watch the light attached to the fan, it actually switches on and off exactly as the blades come to a halt, which is a massive red flag for a deliberate manipulation of the electrical current.
What is going on in my house when I'm not home?
As if the fan wasn't enough, look at the background of the shot. A closet door slowly creaks open and clicks shut entirely on its own, repeating the motion several times. If you listen closely to the raw audio, you can even hear a faint growling and a rhythmic knocking coming from that area. In paranormal research, entities often start with these smaller, glitchy movements to test the waters and build up kinetic energy. Whatever invaded Troy's home quickly realized it was being watched, and the physical manifestations only grew stronger from there. The next day, that same closet door continued to act up, but the entity began interacting with much heavier objects to prove its presence.
It's happening again.
You can see the tablecloth being noticeably tugged by an invisible force, but the real kicker is the heavy wooden dining bench. It gets dragged across the floor with a loud, jarring scrape, almost as if whatever that entity is wanted to pull the bench into the closet. Moving solid wood takes a significant amount of energy, proving that this is no longer just a passive, residual spirit replaying a past event. This is an active, intelligent presence. On a separate day, the focus shifts from empty rooms to the people living inside them. Troy's son is just trying to distract himself and regain some sense of normalcy by playing video games. But the entity decides to make it completely clear that the family is no longer welcome there. As objects start shifting and moving around him once again, the boy finally reaches his breaking point. He drops his controller and gets the hell out of there, realizing that even in the middle of a gaming session, he's being hunted.
Daddy? Daddy, it's happening again. Daddy? Daddy? I don't like this. Daddy, I don't like this. Daddy?
While moving furniture is terrifying, coming face to face with the entity is a completely different level of nightmare. In this next piece of evidence, the man's son is hanging out in his room when that same problematic closet door slowly swings open. But this time, it isn't just an invisible force. According to the family, the son actually saw a distinct, terrifying face peering back at him from the pitch black space inside the closet. His blood-curdling scream as he bolts downstairs in absolute terror tells you everything you need to know about what was looking at him from the dark.
Ah! Hello? Mama! Mama!
At this point, the house is an absolute powder keg. When you look at this specific pattern of escalation, it raises a terrifying question. What exactly is living in this home? Activity that starts with electrical interference and subtle movements before rapidly evolving into throwing heavy furniture usually points to a poltergeist. Poltergeists are notoriously noisy and destructive, often feeding off the raw emotional energy and stress of the people living in the home, especially teenagers, who act like a biological battery for the activity. However, there is a logic pivot here that points to something much more sinister. Manifesting a physical face to intentionally terrify a child is a deeply predatory behavior. Many investigators would look at this timeline and classify it as a demonic infestation rather than a simple haunting. These dark entities systematically break down a family's psychological state. They start by making you question your sanity with moving objects, exhaust you with fear, and then finally reveal themselves to feed off the resulting peak terror. Is this a chaotic poltergeist feeding off the stress of the household? Or has Troy Legault's home become a site of an active, intelligent, demonic infestation? I'll let you come up with your own conclusions. This video you're about to watch comes from the home surveillance footage of a co-worker's house. According to the person who shared this, the homeowner has been dealing with a heavy, oppressive presence in this specific area of their house, claiming that they repeatedly see this exact same shadowy figure lurking around late at night. Finally, their security camera triggered and captured what they've been dreading. In paranormal analysis, whenever a hazy, indistinct shape drifts across the screen like that, skeptics immediately jump to a few standard conclusions. They'll argue it's just an out-of-focus bug walking across the camera lens, or perhaps the headlights of a passing car refracting through the glass. But we can definitively rule the car lights out. The co-worker who lives in the house confirmed that at the exact moment this anomaly was recorded, there were absolutely no cars driving by outside and no external lights shining onto the property. If there is no external light source, there can be no reflection, which means this shadow light anomaly wasn't caused by the environment. It was an intelligence generating its own luminous energy to manifest in our reality. What the camera caught wasn't a trick of lighting or a wandering insect. It was the physical visual discharge of the exact recurring entity the homeowner knows is waiting for them in the dark. What do you think about this? This next clip shows an anomaly that has baffled a homeowner for the last 4 years. One night, a strange, erratic light source triggered her camera's motion sensors, so she uploaded the video and it sparked a massive debate. The movement is so distinctly autonomous and fluttery that the creator's friend and dozens of people in the comments are entirely convinced the camera captured a fairy. Naturally, skeptics were quick to jump in with two main scientific explanations. Either it's simply a trick of the light reflecting off the kitchen counter, or it's the camera's infrared lights refracting off a tiny spider web hanging just in front of the lens. Keep those theories in mind as you watch the footage. If you watch the trajectory closely, both of those logical explanations completely fall apart. First, if this were merely a reflection, like a passing car's headlights sliding across the kitchen counter, the light would physically bend, distort, or break the moment it crossed the edge of the countertop. But it doesn't. The light maintains its shape and trajectory perfectly. It doesn't bend with the counter because it isn't on the counter. It is a free-floating, three-dimensional energy source moving through the air directly in front of it. The spiderweb theory is much more plausible. In fact, it's exactly what the homeowner thought when her Ring notifications first started going off like crazy. To solve the problem, she physically went out into the room and scrubbed that entire corner, checking for and clearing out any spider webs within a 5-foot radius. But here is the detail that turns this from a mild curiosity into a terrifying encounter. The footage we just watched was recorded after she cleaned the area. Whatever this anomaly was, it wasn't a web and it wasn't leaving. The persistent, unexplained presence of this energy finally pushed the homeowner to her breaking point. She was so spooked that she grabbed her dog at 3 a.m., abandoned the house, and drove 40 minutes to sleep on her parents' couch. When she finally returned the next day, the anomaly was completely gone and she never saw it again. What do you think that was? I'll let you be the judge. This next clip takes us into an environment universally recognized as a massive focal point for the unexplained, a cemetery. In paranormal research, graveyards are considered active batteries of residual energy that hold a dense concentration of spiritual activity simply due to the emotional weight and history attached to the ground. The footage comes from a creator who makes a regular habit of live streaming his late-night graveyard visits. As he stands in the dark, his face covered by a black balaclava while he interacts with his chat, pay close attention to the background just over his right shoulder.
Graben. Pinche velador está loco. Ese en Hidalgo. Dylan Adrián, ese en Hidalgo, no.
Right in the middle of his broadcast, the distinct silhouette of what appears to be a full-bodied figure casually walks through the shadows directly behind the tombstones. When someone repeatedly uses a final resting place for entertainment, they inevitably run the risk of disturbing whatever is anchored there. Spirits, much like the living, can eventually reach a breaking point when their peace is constantly interrupted. This manifestation doesn't feel like a random, wandering soul just caught on camera by accident. Given how often he streams there, it feels much more like a subtle, calculated warning. It's a quiet, but deeply unsettling way for the residents of that graveyard to let him know that they are watching, they just want to rest, and they have finally had enough of his cameras. If an entity is willing to step out of the shadows and walk directly behind you while you're live streaming, it might be time to find a new location to film. In this next clip, we explore a concept that's so scary, it sounds straight out of a nightmare. What if you aren't just living with a spirit, but living inside a monster house that is actively hunting you? You see, for weeks, the guy in this video had been dealing with deeply unsettling auditory phenomena, most notably hearing distinct, disembodied laughter in his house when he knew for a fact he was completely home alone. But tonight, the entity decided to stop laughing from the shadows and start physically interacting with the environment. He hears the heavy, rhythmic thud of his kitchen cabinets opening and slamming shut on their own. So, armed with his camera, he goes in to investigate. But what makes this footage so sinister is the undeniable intelligence behind the activity. The entity plays a predatory game of cat and mouse. The moment he steps into the kitchen, the noise dead stops. But the second he turns his camera away, it immediately starts again. Watch what happens when the entity finally decides to drop the act and show itself.
Something opens my cabinet and laughs.
No one's in my cabinet that I'm aware of. Oh my god. Fuck that. I swear one of these cupboards just went. It wasn't the same noise that usually happens, but one of these. Maybe that. No, that won't go because it's got stuff in front of it. This is bullshit. I swear to God that cupboard is moving. Oh my god. Oh shit. Right, that's it. I'm going. Oh my god.
The sheer, unfiltered panic in his voice as he yells is the sound of a man realizing he is no longer at the top of the food chain in his own home. But the most chilling detail happens just as he turns to flee. The cabinet doesn't just slam shut, it violently swings completely wide open. In paranormal psychology, an entity that plays red light, green light with a victim isn't just haunting a space, it's actively trying to break the occupant down, psychologically, to establish dominance. When that cabinet swings wide open, Right as he turns his back to run, it is the entity claiming its territory. This leaves us with one final, scary question. If your own home suddenly turned into a hunting ground and things around the house start playing games with you, what would you do? This next clip was posted by a mum who's convinced that her toddler has just seen a ghost. It is a long-standing theory in the paranormal community that young children possess a heightened awareness, allowing them to see things that adults simply brush past. What starts as a normal, happy moment between a mother and her toddler hanging out on the bed quickly shifts when the child's attention is completely derailed by something invisible in the room. The mother noted in her caption that while her daughter didn't cry before or after the specific footage, and that there have been other times in this house where she was absolutely petrified by whatever she was staring at. Watch her expression change and listen to what she points at.
Nipple. Why are you scared? Please. Oh. What's wrong?
Dada.
Where's Dada? Oh.
Okay, oh, what are those? Huh? Others.
I don't know, what is it?
What is it?
There's nothing out there.
No, we are there.
What?
No, we are there. We are there. Don't know it goes.
A ghost? Did you say it's a ghost?
No, it goes.
Where's the ghost?
No, it goes.
Oh.
It's definitely chilling to watch a child go from laughing to being completely hyperfixated on an empty space. But the most striking part is her vocabulary. She explicitly points into the void and identifies the presence as a ghost. Toddlers don't really have the psychological capacity to fake a complex visual tracking response just for fun. She is actively watching something move across the room. The mum handles it like most parents probably would, assuming it's just her child's active imagination. But from an investigator's perspective, verbally acknowledging and inviting an unverified entity closer is always a risky move, even as a joke. It gives whatever is standing in that room validation. It leaves you wondering, when a child points to an empty corner and tells you someone is there, at what point do you stop laughing and start believing them? This next clip perfectly captures the terrifying progression of a physical haunting. When an entity first starts interacting with our world, it often tests the waters with smaller, easily dismissed movements before escalating to heavier objects. In the first half of the video, we are looking at a seemingly normal bedroom setup. Keep your eyes on the bag resting quietly on top of the bed.
Picture lang. Makita tayo.
There is no visible string, no sudden tilt of the mattress, and no logical reason for a stationary bag to suddenly drag itself over the edge. The movement is a clear, downward pull, but whatever is in this house wasn't satisfied with just knocking luggage onto the floor. In the second part of the footage, the kinetic energy shifts, focusing on a seating arrangement. Watch closely because the extreme specificity of what happens next is what makes it so unnerving.
Tingnan nyo guys ha. Nandiyan na siya. Nandiyan na. Nandiyan na siya. Nandiyan na. Nandiyan na. Gumalaw yung bangko.
Notice how the surrounding environment remains completely undisturbed. The table doesn't bump. The stool, right next to it, doesn't wobble. And there is no shifting of the floor. Just a single chair being smoothly and deliberately dragged backward by an unseen hand. When paranormal activity is this targeted, it completely rules out environmental factors like heavy vibrations, earthquakes, or drafts. It proves that the entity has enough focus and density to grip a single, specific piece of furniture and move it with purpose. It isn't just lashing out blindly. It knows exactly what it wants to move, and it wants to make sure the homeowner is watching when it happens. This next footage gives us a rare, real-time look at an investigator actively negotiating with a poltergeist, and it perfectly illustrates how unpredictable and intelligent these entities can be. The video starts right after a violent physical disturbance. That heavy metal stand with the draping beads on the middle shelf had just swung forward on its own, violently striking the glass door of the display cabinet. The investigator immediately opens the right side door, hits record, and begins a direct communication session, challenging whatever is in the room to do it again. At first, the response is weak. We just see a slight, subtle jingling of the draped beads. It's the exact kind of movement a skeptic would immediately debunk as a heavy footstep or the investigator subtly bumping the wooden cabinet. But the investigator knows this, so he doesn't back down. He verbally pushes the entity, asking it to actually swing the object like it did before. What the entity does in response leaves him completely unnerved and physically lightheaded.
Poltergeist.
So I'm sitting here gaming, and that object up there swung and literally smacked the glass really hard. Damn reflection, but look, still moving. Let's get you before it stops. Look, still moving. Oh no, it moved. Look, it was sitting there, as you can see from the dust. Oh, so it moved. Alright. Can you make it swing again? Damn, I really need to wipe off in there. Look at all that shit. Can you make it swing again? Try to open that more. Hello? Can you make it move again? Oh, look. It made them all move now. Nice. Can you make it swing like you did before when it hit the glass? It's going out of focus. Alright, now I said swing it, not move it. Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise. And I opened that thing, so probably let the damn thing out. Yo, this thing keeps moving. I'm like nervous and shaking, and I'm lightheaded a little bit. Keeps going out of focus. Surprised them things ain't shaking more, how much it moved. I'm so nervous, man. So lightheaded. I'm gonna regret this, but can you make it move again? Can you make it move again? I'm so lightheaded. Can you slide it the other way? Keeps going out of focus. Yo! Was that a nickel, a dime, a penny? Look, there's my change. That thing went flying. How did it not hit the glass? See, that is some glitch in the Matrix shit. Yo, I gotta rewatch that, cause how to get past that glass and fly behind this stuff. That's definitely not what flew out. I don't even know where.
In the following clip, we're looking at a discovery that feels like the opening scene of a Hollywood horror movie, but for this hiker, the terror was all too real. This woman was trekking deep into a dense, isolated patch of woods when she stumbled upon a discarded, vintage-style camcorder lying in the dirt. And the most unsettling part? It was reportedly smeared with what looked like dried blood. Most people would have left it right there, but curiosity eventually got the better of her. She decided to bring it home and play back the footage to see what the previous owner had captured before they presumably abandoned the device in a hurry. What she found on the tape wasn't just a home movie, it was a record of something that was never supposed to be seen. As the camera pans across the thick, tangled tree line, you can see a tall, dark, human-shaped silhouette peeking out from behind a massive trunk. It's only visible for a split second, but the moment the lens locks onto it, the figure retreats into the shadows with a fluid, almost mechanical speed that no human could replicate. In paranormal circles, this is often labeled as a watcher, an entity that acts as a territorial spirit, guarding a specific location. The woman probably walked away thinking that the woods were the anchor, and that as long as she stayed off that particular trail and never went back, she'd be in the clear. She likely figured the camera was just a creepy souvenir of a place she'd never visit again. But boy, was she wrong. It turns out that when you bring a haunted object into your home, you aren't just bringing back a story, you're effectively inviting a guest that doesn't need a second invitation to stay. Back within the supposed safety of her own four walls, the reality of what she found in those woods began to settle in with a heavy, suffocating weight. She began to feel a relentless, aggressive energy that seemed determined to make its presence known at all hours of the night. It started with small things, items being slightly out of place, a door left ajar, but it quickly escalated into a full-on auditory assault. The footage she began recording in her own apartment shows a woman who is a shell of her former self, jumping at every creak of the floorboards.
It's the middle of the night and I just got woke up again. It's coming for me. It's in my house. The noises are coming from the kitchen. Listen. It's the noise that wakes me up every night. It gets me. It wakes me up in my dreams. It wakes me up from my sleep. I have to catch it on camera.
We often focus on the what of a haunting, the bangs, the slams, and the shadows, but we rarely see the systematic breakdown of a person's sense of security. Several viewers in the comments section pointed out a chilling theory that changes the entire context of this video. These entities don't just cause fear, they feed off it. They act like an emotional battery, using the adrenaline and the high-frequency panic of their host to manifest even more physical disturbances. The more she records, and the more terrified she becomes, the stronger the entity seems to get. It's a vicious cycle where the victim's own survival instincts are being weaponized against them. As the days drag on, the activity shifts from physical disturbances to something much more cruel and calculated. She's at her absolute breaking point, visibly exhausted from a total lack of sleep and the growing realization that she is being hunted within her own walls. But it's no longer just about things moving in the dark. Now, the entity is starting to speak back, and it's choosing the voices she trusts most. She reports hearing her sister and even her mother calling out her name from the other rooms, a chilling development considering she lives completely alone and her family is literally hundreds of miles away on the other side of the country.
It's getting worse, and I haven't been able to tell anyone or go anywhere because I don't have anywhere to go, and I don't have anyone who's believing me. At first, it was my sister, but now I hear my mom. And she doesn't live here. She lives on the other side of the country, and I just called her, and she's in her own home. She's not here right now. So who is that? I've gone through the whole entire apartment. There is no one else here but me. No one else.
If you listen closely to the audio while she's talking to the camera, there's a faint, rhythmic hello, hello, whispering from somewhere deep in the house beneath the sound of her own voice. By weaponizing her own family's voices, the entity is conducting a masterclass in emotional warfare. It knows that even in a state of terror, a human will instinctively move toward the sound of a loved one. At this point, she's not just fighting a haunting anymore, she's fighting for her own sanity. In a desperate attempt to find even a moment of peace, she finally fled the apartment. She jumped in her car and drove, hoping that the distance between her and that trail in the woods would finally mean something. But as she pulled into her apartment's public parking garage, she realized the distance didn't matter.
I was just walking out of my apartment, and look. You see that? You see that shadow? It's following me.
If you look at the shadow cast against the concrete wall behind the red car, you can see a tall, distorted figure that perfectly matches the silhouette from the blood-smeared camcorder she found in the woods. This confirms the worst-case scenario in any paranormal investigation, a person-centered attachment. The entity isn't tied to the woods, and it's not even tied to the camcorder anymore. It is tied to her. It has moved from being a watcher in the trees to a stalker in her shadow. In the final piece of evidence, we see her trying to navigate the most mundane parts of her day, but the sounds behind her are becoming impossible to ignore. She's just trying to head down the stairs of a parking structure, but every step she takes is met with a heavy, rhythmic echo that isn't her own. You can see the exhaustion in her hands as the camera shakes. She is a woman who has run out of places to hide.
I was just coming downstairs, and I keep hearing it. Sounds like it's always like one step behind me. Listen. Listen. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
According to paranormal experts, what we might be seeing here is a demonic attachment or a high-level shadow entity. Unlike a typical residual ghost that repeats the same actions over and over, these entities are predatory and intelligent. They use an initial point of curiosity, like picking up a discarded camera, as a legal invitation to latch onto a person's energetic field. Once that bond is formed, it's incredibly difficult to break because the entity is no longer powered by the object. It's powered by the victim's recognition of its presence. In a final, desperate attempt to end the nightmare, she reportedly returned to the woods and left the blood-smeared camcorder exactly where she found it, hoping that returning the anchor would keep the entity there. But the activity hasn't stopped. Whatever followed her out of those trees has no intention of going back to the dirt. It has a new home now. So what do you think? Is there any way to break a bond that transcends physical boundaries? Or are some attachments simply permanent? And more importantly, what would you do if you were in her shoes? This next clip takes us to a living room where a group of friends or siblings are gathered to record a sweet, seemingly innocent video. They're holding heart-shaped balloons and singing happy birthday in German, completely unaware that the camera is capturing a lot more than just their celebration. The lighting is warm, the mood is light, and it looks like a typical happy moment you'd send to a family member. But if you keep your eyes on the mirror hanging on the wall to the left, this wholesome video quickly turns into something straight out of a nightmare.
1, 2, 3, 4. Zum Geburtstag viel Glück. Zum Geburtstag viel Glück. Zum Geburtstag alles Gute. Zum Geburtstag viel Glück. Alles Liebe zum Geburtstag, Mama.
As the song comes to an end and the group starts laughing and popping their balloons, pay close attention to the reflection in that oval mirror. For just a split second, a pale, almost translucent figure with what looks like wings glides past the glass. It moves with a smooth, unnatural glide, completely out of sync with the chaotic energy of the room. The moment the figure passes out of frame, the mirror detaches from the wall and crashes to the ground, taking the room from a state of celebration to a state of absolute shock. It's as if whatever was watching them from the reflection decided it was done being ignored. So, what do you think? Was this a guardian angel making a very dramatic entrance for a birthday? Or is it a case of an unseen entity using the mirror as a portal before violently closing the door behind it? I'll leave you to come up with your own conclusions. In this next clip, we're taken back to 2016, inside the decaying hallways of the Central State Sanatorium in Indiana. A group of friends was exploring the abandoned site, looking for thrills, but finding nothing but empty rooms and a heavy, oppressive silence. At least, that's what they thought at the time. They didn't notice anything out of the ordinary during the actual investigation and only realized something was wrong once they got home. It wasn't until they played the footage back on an old speaker that they heard a voice that definitely didn't belong to anyone in their group, proving that they weren't as alone in those dark corridors as they believed.
Is that blood?
Is anybody here with us? You can talk. We're here to listen.
You really have to listen closely to catch this one, but once you hear it, it's impossible to ignore. Right in the middle of the audio, you can hear a faint, gravelly, disembodied voice clearly ask, "Hello, what's your name?" followed by a series of heavy, rhythmic breaths that seem to follow the camera throughout the room. In the world of paranormal research, this is a textbook example of an electronic voice phenomenon, or EVP. While many EVPs are residual, essentially just a glitch in time playing back a past event, a direct, relevant question like this points toward an intelligent haunting. It suggests an entity that is not only aware of its environment, but is actively trying to bridge the gap and start a dialogue with the living. The persistent heavy breathing is the real hair on the back of your neck moment. It's often interpreted as an entity exerting a massive amount of energy just to manifest its presence in our physical world. Was this a lost soul from the sanatorium's past, just looking for a bit of human connection? Or is there something much more sentient and watchful still walking those halls? This next clip takes us to the sterile, dimly lit hallway of a brand new apartment building where a content creator was just trying to film a routine room tour for his followers. He's visibly excited about the move, but the celebratory vibe of the video takes a sharp, jagged turn the second he steps out into the corridor. He accidentally bumps into a man standing perfectly still in the shadows. And while most of us would expect a quick apology or a friendly wave, he's met with a silence that feels heavy and entirely intentional. He tries to play it off with some friendly neighborly chatter, introducing himself as the new guy on the floor and even offering to help if the man needs anything. But the figure doesn't move a single muscle in response.
Je voulais faire un zoom tour de mon nouvel appart.
Un petit peu là où j'habite. J'ai emménagé avant. Oh,
Je l'avais pas vu.
Pardon, je suis désolé. Je suis votre nouveau voisin. J'ai emménagé avant-hier. Du coup, bah, enchanté.
Tu sens ce malaise?
Ça va, monsieur? Monsieur? Ça va?
Il ne dit rien.
Bah... Si vous avez besoin de quoi que ce soit... vous me dites, hein, vous frappez, pas de soucis.
Regarde les doigts. Ça veut dire un truc?
Ça va, monsieur? Bon. Bah, bonne journée, du coup.
Allez, je flippe là, je rentre. Avis?
If you look closely at the zoom in on the man's hand, you can see his fingers moving in an incredibly fast, rhythmic, and unnatural twitch that completely contradicts the absolute stillness of the rest of his body. In paranormal research, this kind of erratic movement is often flagged as involuntary manifestation, a sign that an entity is struggling to keep a physical, human-like form stable. The creator's own caption even asks if the fingers mean something, and for many viewers, the answer is a resounding yes. It's as if the neighbor isn't a person at all, but a creature wearing a human suit that hasn't quite figured out how the nervous system is supposed to work. The absolute lack of a verbal response, even when the creator offers a friendly greeting, suggests we're looking at something that doesn't understand the basic rules of human interaction. What do you think? Is this just a case of a neighbor dealing with a severe neurological condition and a very awkward social moment? Or did this creator accidentally catch a glimpse of something that's merely pretending to belong in our world? In this next clip, we're following a guy named Jorge who was just trying to have a chill night at home. They say you shouldn't watch horror movies alone, mostly because your brain starts playing tricks on you, but for Jorge, the real scare wasn't on the screen. It was happening right behind his desk. While he was deep into a video, he noticed his bedroom curtains starting to sway. We're not talking about a gentle nudge from a breeze. They were moving with a heavy, deliberate motion. Jorge was quick to point out that every fan in the room was killed, and the windows were sealed tight. There was zero airflow, yet the fabric was acting like it was being pulled by an invisible hand. Hoping to catch a prankster, or maybe just find a logical explanation that would let him sleep, he finally worked up the nerve to look down at the street below.
So I'm just chilling in my room. The fans are on. When I was just watching this scary ass video, shadow figure just standing outside, like on the street, and just moved. I have no idea where my curtains are moving. Like, see, none of them were moving. Look outside. It was like right there. That's a street lamp, but what is that underneath it? Cause that wasn't there 10 minutes ago. So I have no idea right now.
Standing directly under the pool of a flickering street lamp was a dark, stationary silhouette. It wasn't a neighbor out for a walk or a random passerby. This figure was perfectly still, seemingly staring up at his window with an eerie, unblinking intensity. Jorge noted that the street was completely empty just 10 minutes prior, making this figure's sudden appearance feel very intentional. In paranormal circles, this is often labeled as a watcher. These entities are frequently reported in conjunction with physical disturbances, like those moving curtains, suggesting they're capable of interacting with the environment from a distance. Whether this was a literal prowler or something much more spectral, the absolute stillness of that figure is enough to make anyone double check their locks. The following clip you're about to watch comes from a creator named Reese Royales, whose family rented a cabin for a getaway, only to find out it was heavily haunted. Reese actually noticed the activity first when a kitchen cabinet opened completely on its own. Understandably freaked out, he went to tell the rest of the family, and they all rushed downstairs to see it for themselves. You can feel the nervous tension in the room as they crowd into the dimly lit kitchen, cameras rolling, waiting to see if the anomaly will repeat itself.
Which one is open? Open!
Okay, everything. Oh, let me say.
Where's Marcus?
Right here? Right here.
No.
Right now.
Where's Marcus?
See how hard to open that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe push by itself. Go.
Right.
Right, I see that.
Right. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Sinong gumagawa nito? Open it right now.
Asan kayo? Nandito kayo?
Nangyayari, dude.
Marami tayo na eh.
Kanina may nag-open.
Is it juice? No. Nakita mo. Open? Open! Wala bang ilaw dyan?
No, stop.
No, I saw that.
No. It was fucking shaking. It was fucking shaking.
Can we go? What?
Open it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, go.
And as you can see from their terrified reactions, it definitely happens again. The cabinet violently swings open, sending the entire family screaming and scrambling out of the room. So, what exactly might be at play here? In paranormal theory, an entity capable of physically moving heavy objects right in front of a large, active group of people is displaying a massive amount of kinetic energy, often the hallmark of a poltergeist. Poltergeists act like energetic sponges, feeding off high emotion environments. The combined fear, anticipation, and chaotic energy of the whole family rushing downstairs likely gave the entity the exact charge it needed to manifest so aggressively. Now, while the family's panic feels incredibly authentic, several skeptical viewers in the comments were quick to point out the logistics of the room, with one simply asking, "Who was under the cabinet, haha?" Given the camera angle and the dark island counter obscuring the lower half of the frame, it's entirely possible someone was tucked out of sight to push the door open for a viral prank. But whether it's a masterful family setup or a highly charged poltergeist asserting its presence, the sheer panic captured on tape is undeniably effective. What do you think? Was that the work of a poltergeist or just a clever trick? I'll leave you to be the judge. This next clip starts off wholesome enough. A father is just hanging out in a bedroom, filming his young daughter as they play a simple game of catch. The focus is entirely on her having fun, but if you look past the bed to the window in the background, you'll catch a detail that completely ruins the vibe. If you watch the center of the blinds, right behind the little girl, a few of the slats clearly pull apart and dip down. It looks exactly as if someone is standing on the other side, pulling the blinds apart to peek inside the room before suddenly letting them snap back into place. He didn't even notice it until he watched the clip back.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. That one hurt. Okay, you want me to make buckets now?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna catch it.
Oh, you want to catch it and then put it?
Okay.
Okay. Oh. Yeah. Yay! Yeah! You want the small one?
Yeah.
There you go. Oh!
This is too small.
Sorry. It's too small, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, you got it.
No, almost. I mean, you hit SpongeBob though. Yay! Last one. 3, 1. Huh? 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
You should say 3, 2, 1, go.
3, 2, 1, go. In the basket.
Go again.
Okay.
When he posted the footage, he explained in his caption that the window was completely shut and he didn't see any physical fingers poking through to manipulate the blinds. Understandably freaked out, he asked his viewers if it could be a ghost. He even mentioned that the grandmother came in to bless the room shortly after they noticed the anomaly, but he admitted he's still feeling pretty uneasy about the whole situation. In paranormal theory, this kind of subtle, voyeuristic activity is incredibly unsettling. Entities will often start their manifestations by simply observing, figuring out the dynamics of the household before making a larger move. The fact that it's focusing its attention right behind a child makes the whole thing feel undeniably predatory. In the second part of this saga, the dad realizes just how crazy the situation actually is. He goes back into the room to investigate and films the setup to prove to everyone that absolutely nobody else was inside with them. He shows the empty room, pointing out exactly where his daughter was sitting on the bed. But then he takes things a step further to debunk any skeptics who might think a prankster was just standing right outside the window.
Right here is the room where it actually happened. Hey. So I was just sitting here with my daughter. Well, she was actually on the bed playing with her toy that she always plays with. All of a sudden, I didn't understand what was going on, because the only way you can move the blinds is if you're inside the room. There's no possible way that someone can move the blinds from the outside of the room. There's no possible way somebody can just come up here and move the blinds from the inside.
He takes his camera outside to film the exterior of the house, and that's when you realize the bedroom window is actually on the second floor. The only way someone is opening those blinds from the outside is if they are over 9 feet tall. It's physically impossible for a normal person to reach that window from the ground, and we already know there was no one else hiding inside the room to do it from the inside. This completely rules out a simple neighborhood prank and firmly pushes this into paranormal territory. But if you think a creepy, peeping ghost is bad, just wait. The next day, he went back to review security footage to see if his cameras caught the detail his own eyes missed in the moment.
Okay, so I might just be rambling, but I just want to bring up security footage, POV from when it happened. I'm just gonna zoom in and you just tell me what you see.
Oh, you got it.
There are no fucking fingers. There are no fingers in the middle of this. Nobody's moving the blinds.
No. Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. That one hurt. Okay, you want me to make buckets now?
The only way someone will be able to open that window is from the left to the right side.
Okay. Oh. Yeah. Yay! Yeah! You want the small one? Yeah.
Even when outside of the house, the only fucking way is from the left to the right. There was no opening in the middle, even on the outside or the inside.
Yeah!
You would need to step on the stepping stones to get on that.
Yeah! You want the
So
small one? Sorry, that's too small. Oh, you got it. No, almost. I mean,
As you can see, the activity doesn't just happen once. The blinds are manipulated twice in a way that feels incredibly rhythmic and deliberate. He even zooms in to show a detail that is frankly a huge red flag. There are absolutely no fingers visible. In a normal prank, you'd see the tips of a hand or at least a shadow blocking the light, but here the slats just separate. Now, here is the logic pivot that really pushes this into paranormal territory. He points out that not only is the bedroom on the second floor, meaning a prankster would need a massive ladder just to reach the glass, but these specific blinds don't even open from the middle. They are a solid unit. For those slats to dip down like that, something has to be applying physical pressure directly to the center of the plastic, a feat that would be impossible for a simple breeze or a shifting foundation. If you thought the voyeuristic behavior with the blinds was unsettling, this next clip proves that the entity is quickly moving out of the observation phase and into something much more aggressive. Same room, same heavy atmosphere, but this time the interaction is a lot more direct. As the homeowner films the bedroom door, it starts to drift open with a slow, agonizing creak that feels entirely too deliberate to be a draft. Just as the door reaches its peak, the lights abruptly cut out, and in the sudden darkness, the door is slammed shut with enough force to make you jump. Of course, skeptics might try to point toward a simple cross breeze or a faulty light switch, but for both events to happen simultaneously is a major red flag. A draft doesn't typically trip a circuit breaker, and an electrical surge doesn't physically pull a door shut. In paranormal research, this is often categorized as a localized energy drain. Entities frequently draw power from electrical systems to fuel physical manifestations. By killing the lights, it's essentially using that surge as a battery to slam the door, making a clear statement that it can control the boundaries of the room. It's moving from being a watcher to a jailer, effectively barricading the homeowner inside his own sanctuary. In this final piece of evidence, we see the real-world consequences of these disturbances on the family. While it's one thing to capture a door slamming or a blind dipping on camera, it's a whole new level of unsettling when a child begins to sense the shift in the house's energy. The dad captured this moment when his young daughter became visibly distressed, repeatedly saying, "Dad, this is so scary." She's clearly hesitant to even step foot in the room where the activity has been most concentrated, essentially treating the doorway like a physical barrier.
So scary. This is so scary. I think it's so scary.
Children are often considered intuitive barometers for a haunting. They are incredibly receptive to shifts in the atmosphere and can often sense an entity's presence long before it manifests physically for an adult. Her refusal to enter the room suggests that the entity has successfully established a territorial hold over the space, making it feel unwelcoming or even predatory to the most vulnerable member of the household. Is this just a child feeding off the nervous energy of her father, or has the room itself become a site of active, intelligent aggression that even she can feel? I'll let you come up with your own conclusions.